is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. JLee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, JLee.
All right, we are back in the National Live Podcast studio. This time, I am joined by my friends from the Currency Project. We have Abdul and we have Julian. Guys, welcome to this setup here. It's great to have you guys. How's your day going so far?
Well, thank you. I had to wake up at 4 this morning to get here, so excited to be here, excited to see all the people. I was just telling you, it's very easy to get lost in this maze of
goodness.
Goodness, yeah.
That's the only way to describe this. It's just goodness everywhere you turn.
Totally.
It's excellent. I love it.
How about you, Abdul? You walked in the show. Is it an instant overwhelming? Have you kind of started to find your bearings? How are you feeling? Here we are, 4 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah. So as visual artists, I'm very visual. So when I walk in here, it's just overstimulation left, right, and center. I don't know where to focus. I'm trying to get my bearings, but it's taking a little bit of time. But yeah, this is fantastic for anybody who loves cards, and it's been a while since I've been to a national. This is where you want to be.
100%.
Yeah.
So to the Sports Cards Live audience, if you've been watching any of my content over the last few years now, you have seen in the chat the Currency Project come in and make some comments. These are the guys. This is Julian and Abdul, and it's pretty cool. I ran into them earlier today. I said, you guys would be perfect to come in here with me because I want to keep my content in this studio very diverse and just, I don't want the last podcast to feel like the next one and so forth. You guys do original card art, and you have a very unique approach to it because there's lots of guys out there doing card. I was just buying a card at a table at the other end of the show, talking to the guy standing at the booth with me, and I said, you do hockey? He goes, yeah, but I'm a card artist. I said, very, very cool. There's randomly. So There's lots of people doing that. How did you guys get your start doing card art? Julian, you go.
So both of us have finance and economic backgrounds, and so we spent a lot of time talking about how we wanted to infuse our love for art and economics into something that, fit these two passions of ours. And we came up with this project that is an exploration of value within the cards and art space. And what's important, I think, for us is we're not just doing card art. It's a whole project about value and about systems of value. And so maybe one of the biggest points I want to drive home is that every card has to go to auction. And none of the cards can be just bought or commissioned. So if you wanted a card of ours, we would make it, but we would sell it at auction, and they would all start at $1, and they sell for whatever they sell for.
So I would have to go to auction and put my best bid forward in order to win it. Luckily for me, I do own a Currency Project card. I bought it. We saw it was 2021.
2021, yeah.
3 years ago, I bought my first, still my only Currency Project card. It's a LeBron James, and I love it. It sits up on my shelf at home. I got it for about $200, guys. I want to get right. I think people want to know, what's the most one of your cards has sold for? Abdul, you take this one.
Another LeBron James. It was, I think, a second-year Bowman LeBron James card, and it sold for $2,700, I believe. Yeah.
$2,650.
$2,650 to be precise.
$2,650. So what you guys do is you acquire a card.
Yeah.
Usually just a base card, a nice base card that has a design, a player featured, and then you guys plan out how you're going to convert it from the design that the card company made into your own. And you actually take, what kind of medium are you using to convert it to a Currency Project card?
So It really depends on the card. Some of the new cards have a bunch of gloss and coating on them that we have to remove. So we might use a razor blade to take some of that off. And what's important is we're thinking about the history of the card, and we want to make sure that these paintings last for years to come. So we'll remove whatever we need to. We'll resurface the card with gesso where we're going to paint, and then we'll use oil paint to paint on top of that. So the oil paint is sitting on a medium that should last for years to come.
Yeah, really cool. And how many cards have you guys put out into your currency project ecosystem, and how often do you issue them? And sorry, lots of questions here.
Yeah.
Kind of rapid fire. Is there only ever one that is live at auction, or do you ever have multiple?
We have done multiple. Right now, it's, I would say, probably about 3 cards that we release every month, spread out. And we do take breaks in between because these cards do take a lot of time to make, as you can imagine, and design and come up with the ideas. So currently, I would say it's right around 3 a month.
Yeah, and we probably spend maybe 3 or 4 months making cards, and then we'll just release them in succession, and then maybe we'll take a break or something like that. So we know, for example, the Olympics is coming up, so maybe we think, okay, what do we want to do that ties to the Olympics or something like that, and come up with cards.
Oh, so you're actually looking at what's going on the sports calendar.
Right. Yeah.
So, for example, I own a LeBron James, and you don't have to reference that card exactly, but is it accurate to say that when I bought that card, there was something going on with LeBron James or the Lakers that made you release it on eBay at that time?
I would at least definitely say that it was during basketball season.
Yeah. Okay.
That I know for sure. But
Okay.
for example, I'm a big Nuggets fan, and I thought that the Nuggets were going to beat the Timberwolves in the playoffs. So I did an Anthony Edwards card during that series, and maybe that came to bite me because Anthony Edwards ended up beating the Nuggets, but it was relevant to the fact that that series was happening, and there was attention being paid to him as an athlete.
How many cards have you guys done so far?
155. It might be 153, but it's right there.
And do you have a favorite sport to use? Is it basketball? And do you do all? Abdul, you take it. Do you do all sports, or what's your favorite? And do your favorites does the favorite differ between the two of you?
It definitely differs. I'm a hockey fan. Yeah, exactly. It's specifically a Peter Forsberg PC collector. So I love doing the hockey cards, but I think basketball has been a part of my life since I was a kid. It's actually what got me into cards. So a lot of those cards have shown up again and again, the Shaquille O'Neals, the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans. But I think predominantly we've been doing, I think, more basketball, but we've been spreading out into non-sports, which I think is really interesting to a lot of our collectors and opens up to new collector bases as well. It tells our story, our history. You know, we did a Simpsons card, some Star Wars cards. We're doing a little bit of everything right now. A Beatles card.
Oh, wow.
I think we look for cards that speak to us emotionally and tell stories about things that we know, and our history as a person that we can then infuse into the card to make it more meaningful.
Now, you guys are artists, so you guys paint for a living, let's say, and you do full-size pieces, and then you do the currency project pieces. What, how does the currency project fit into your greater artistic endeavors?
I would say the currency project is an art project that we work on as a conceptual piece that just fits within our bigger scope of being interested in the arts in general. And then we also have other pieces that we work on together that are large paintings. We have our own paintings that we work on, and we have our own conceptual projects that we work on. So as an artist, we just find a lot of interest, and this happens to be one of them.
Right. And of all the 150 or so cards that you've done, is it even split between the two of you, 75 each, or is it heavy? Yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty even, I would say.
Yeah.
I haven't gone down the numbers, but I'd say
It's
evened out.
Very
you know,
close.
life
Yeah.
happens, things in life. We go to different places, family stuff. So there's times where he carries a bulk of the paintings, and there's another time when I'll carry the bulk of the paintings, and yeah, it's pretty even.
And what about your styles? How would you explain each of your styles and how they might differ from each other? Because if I'm a collector and I want to buy currency project cards, and I told you guys earlier, I have the one I have. I love it. I've seen many more come through your eBay store, and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to bid on that. Next thing I know, it's $700, $800, $900, and it's like good for. I'm happy for you guys, but I get priced out of some of them.
Sure.
So yeah, but speaking of the styles, how do you explain or describe your styles and how they differ? And have you found that one of your do yours sell for more than yours, or yours more than yours? What do you, yeah, I know. Let's get into it.
Let's get right into it. So the way I would pose this is, as conceptual artists, the style is the medium. So the medium is trading cards, oil paint, eBay, Instagram. It's the interaction with the collector. So that is truly the style. I guess when you look at the individual cards, then you're looking at, you know, the design elements that go into that, a specific painting in the style of maybe an old Masters or Van Gogh or Monet, something recognizable. Our own personal styles, I think those come into play as well. You'll start to see those within some of the works. But really the you know, the background that I've taken on as a conceptual artist is that the medium it dictates the message, right? So here we're doing an exploration of value, and the medium is something that actually has value to begin with, these sports cards, trading cards, and then the painting on top of them, not to say it doesn't matter, because it does, obviously we're collecting this data, but the influence of, you know, whether it's a Monet or if it's an Abdul original, like that actually is I think lets the final bidders determine those values, and that's what we're more interested in, is like, what do individuals think about the works in general, like not us necessarily. So
right, our producer out there is laughing because I just encouraged you to bring the mic closer to your face.
You can actually hear me?
Yeah, and he jumped, and I'm like, it's okay. I was basically telling him to get it closer to his. Thank you, Paul. Paul's
Thanks,
awesome.
Paul.
He's been helping us. He's been helping me out each time in here.
I can maybe add a little color to that might be interesting for you. Is we do try to combine old master paintings with some of the cards that we're making, and we don't do it all the time, but we do it fairly often. And we have found that in this space, old master paintings do sell for more money than maybe a painting that's not as recognizable, or maybe something that I conceptualized. And we don't know why, but that's kind of why we're gathering this data. And maybe why I can assume is because it's something that people do recognize. It's like, oh, I see a Van Gogh and I see LeBron James, and so I recognize those two things as important, and putting them together makes it more valuable.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense to me. Whenever I see one of your card paintings, I know right away if I like it or I don't. I told you guys, I don't like everything you do. That's fair. I don't like
That's
everything
totally fair.
Anybody does. Yeah. Even myself, I don't like everything that I do. But some of them are like just so awesome. You've made some great Gretzky cards that I haven't been able to buy. Is there a secondary market for your cards at all?
There is an interesting secondary market. What we found is, first and foremost, people don't sell them. I'd say most of them are held in the primary market. We are aware of some interesting stories that have happened in the secondary market where, for example, one card was bought and then the athlete ended up signing the card on top of our artwork.
Oh, wow.
And then that card got resold to another person. We don't know what it got sold for, but it was just an interesting thing to see this chain of events unfold that was beyond what we even thought of for the card.
That's really, Abdul, you've mentioned value exploration. You guys can you kind of talk about what is the purpose of the value exploration initiative? What does that mean to you guys in the currency project?
Great question. So I think really what it came down to was trying to understand my own value as a human being on this planet, living in existence and interacting with other people, and experiences I had growing up, in some cases being bullied, and other places being maybe the hero on the soccer field or something like that. So understanding where value is created, how it's passed between people, I think that becomes very interesting to me. So as a project, this is a way to dissect something tangible. The internal value that we hold is not something other people can necessarily see. So as far as having a project that helps us pull that apart and understand it better, I think it helps me see and understand value better and how these things are transacted and the statistics to back that up.
Right on. Very interesting stuff. I am going to have you guys on Sports Cards Live by the end of this year, early next year. We'll do a full, long form interview, get right into it. But we are here at the 2024 National. I ran into you guys here. Why are you here? What are your initiatives for being here at the show? What are your goals for the show? Are you here through till Sunday?
We're staying till Saturday. We made a couple of really cool cards for the show that we wanted to just come and engage with the community and meet a lot of people that, we've talked to you online for I don't know how many years now, and we wanted to meet you in person and have those similar interactions with as many people as we can find, and get the opportunity to show these cards to people in person, because it's one thing to see them digitally, but when you see a small oil painting in your hands, I think it's a different experience. And so just trying to share that with as many people as possible.
What about you, Abdul? Any other sort of goals you have while you're you mentioned you want to see some people.
Yeah.
That's great that you want to see them and show them what you've done.
Right.
What do you want to accomplish though? Are you looking to sell more cards? Are you looking anything that you will, if you're not willing to share it, you don't have to.
Sure.
But to the extent you are.
Yeah, I think, and I think you actually said this in one of the posts that somebody had reposted our work, is that you guys are like the best kept secret in the card space. And I kind of agree with you. I feel like we are, so I want to get word out. We exist. We are making these paintings, and they're amazing. I think they're amazing. And we don't even get to spend that much time with them because we make them and then they go out into the world. So here's an opportunity for us to show them to people. People can see them in their hands. There's not a lot of them out there. They're very scarce. So why not let a bunch of people see them in person? I think that could get the ball rolling.
I've always thought about artists with their art, and when they do sell a piece, because I bought commissioned art from artists. And I always wonder, do they miss them? Do they get as artists? So this purely is the artist side, not the sports card side. I'm just curious, do you ever kind of miss a piece? Do you have an attachment to them? How does that work?
Absolutely. I miss paintings that I've moved into collections from years ago, and I still think about them. And every now and then I will get to a collector's house and see a piece that I've made, and it's like a rekindled love affair. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. Those tough times we had. Yeah, it's there's something about it. I mean, to be kind of the vessel that these things come into the world through us, you do nurture them. It's like having a child in a way.
Yeah. How about you, Julian? How do you feel about your art?
Same. I don't know if I miss them, but I have this similar experience with Abdul where when I get to see them again, it redevelops this appreciation for the fact that they exist in the world and how important that is and how cool it is for something that I created to be out in the world and being appreciated by somebody else. I think that's really special.
And these are one of one. So, because in my mind, I'm thinking, Upper Deck, Topps, Panini, they're making cards all the time, Leaf, but they're making multiple copies of them. So they might, there's not as much of an attachment. They can always go to their image and reprint it if they, not that they would ever do that, but you think theoretically they could. but they're not. It's different than original art with paintbrush in hand.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a really cool piece of it. Okay, I don't want to do much more here with you guys because I want to save it for the long form that we're going to do, within the next 6 months or so.
Yeah.
But I think this is a really good sort of teaser into what you guys are all about. Getting your thoughts on the National, which is this won't get out. This content probably won't get out until after the National, but next National, the next 3 years we're in Chicago. You see Abdul and Julian walking around with their TCP hats. Make sure you say hello because, like you had said, Abdul, we've been communicating for 3+ years now, just online. I always love seeing your guys' handle in my YouTube chat. I'm grateful for the support, for the viewership. So thanks for taking the time today to sit down with me here at the National 2024 live podcast studio. Guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, you bet.
It's a
You
pleasure.
bet. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.